walking the talk of care for God's creation in some form or another, in some manner or another, and is motivated by their own faith tradition to be engaged in this ministry. And so I want to invite each one of these people to talk for about 15 minutes each, and then we'll open it up for a discussion. And I'm going to really invite you to, as you're listening, to think of some key questions or responses that they're, what they're saying sparks in you. So, with no further ado, I'm going to introduce. In the middle, we have Reverend Mary Gaut. And Mary Gaut earned degrees in psychology and communication from Mary Baldwin College and University of Texas. And after working some years in journalism and political PR and advertising, she earned an MDiv from Princeton Seminary in 1981. She began pastoral ministry in Louisville, Kentucky, and she's been in Baltimore since 1989, where she did her first interim ministries there in transition. She's been at Maryland Presbyterian Church, where she now serves since 1996. She is a member of the 2014 Green Faith Fellowship class, and maybe she'll say a little bit more about what a Green Faith Fellow is with us. And she's also a board member of the Central Maryland Ecumenical Council. So I'm going to jump ahead to Reverend Del Hinton is on your far right there. Del is an elder in the Baltimore, Washington Annual Conference of the United Methodist Church, and she serves as senior pastor at Wynn Oak United Methodist Church. Youth, young adults, and outreach have been her passion throughout her ministries. She currently serves as the chair of Christian Unity and Interreligious Concerns for the Baltimore, Washington Conference of the United Methodist Church. She also serves as vice chair on the board of the Central Maryland Ecumenical Council. Community organizing has been a part of her ministries, and as the founder of Baltimore County Organizing Neighborhoods and a member of BUILD, Baltimoreans United in Leadership Development. And I hope we'll hear more from her about the interface between church and community organizing. She co-leads the Greening Committee for the Baltimore Metro District. Some of you have met Vincent Leggett before, and we welcome him back. In 1984, he founded the Blacks of the Chesapeake Bay Foundation. He is a lay servant leader and lay leader at Mount Zion United Methodist Church, Lothian, Maryland, where Reverend John Blatcher Jr. is the pastor. As lay leader, Vince has served with 8 elder pastors at Mount Zion and was appointed by the bishop to Broadneck United Methodist Church as part of a new church plant initiative at Choose United Methodist Church by the district superintendent coordinating young adult ministries. Vince serves on the Baltimore Washington Annual Conference Commission on Religious and Race and on the Staff Parish Relations Committee for the Annapolis District Superintendent. His special calling is in the areas of congregational life and community engagement. Hearing a familiar theme. Vince studied theological studies at the Ecumenical Institute, St. Mary's Seminary and University in Baltimore, and possesses a bachelor's degree in urban planning and community development from Morgan State University and a master's degree in public administration from my alma mater too, Central Michigan University. Currently, he's employed as Chief Executive Officer of the Annapolis Housing Authority and is informally referred to by many as the Minister of Housing. So, I welcome all of you. And so first we'll hear from Mary Gaut, and we'll hear from Del Hinton, and then Vince Leggett. Take it away.
Can you hear me? Okay, just that. Wow. Okay. Thank you for having me. This is an exciting group. I wish they had something like this in Baltimore County, but I'm determined that when I retire in the summer of 2016 from hospital ministry, I'm going to infiltrate this group.
I did not know I just put your shoulder arms in front of it. There you go.
Great. Thank you. Now I'm even louder. Okay. So we were given some questions to guide our reflection that to share with you tonight. And one of them was something about our own experience in nature and our spirituality concerning this work. And I'll tell you that for a lot of my growing up and young adult years, nature was basically my playground. I grew up, for the most part, in Florida. Last went to high school in Daytona Beach. Could walk to the beach within 6 minutes or so. And we just kind of hung out. Did some family vacationing in the mountains, but primarily it was the seashore. And as the daughter of a minister, I thought that spirituality was the stuff that you did in church, and you did other stuff on the beach and in the mountains. And so it wasn't until sometime into my adult life that I really began to see the connection between my faith and what I understood about God and what God is doing in and with us, and this place that we call this place called Earth. And I will tell you that my first real experience of awe was never in church. It's always someplace out under the stars where the mystery of and the vastness of this universe was revealed. As I've gotten into this work, there are several key biblical texts. I'm sure that you're familiar with these. This is nothing new to you. But we have these creation stories, and so often we've latched on to Genesis 1, maybe because it's right there in the beginning. And there's all that language about dominion and stuff. But when we move into Genesis 2, we are called to be caretakers of the garden, to till it and keep it, not to just have dominion or dominate it or use it only for our purposes. I find Romans 1 very interesting. A couple of just those 19 and 20, where Paul writes, "For what can be known about God is plain to them because God has shown it to them ever since the creation of the world. God's eternal power and divine nature, invisible though they are, have been understood and seen through the things that God has made around us." And then my very favorite creation, environmental stewardship text is in the book of Job. That speech that God makes out of the whirlwind in chapters 38 through 40, where essentially God says to Job, it's not all about you. Where are you when I did all this? And God speaks in this almost maternal language, talking about the ocean gushing forth from my womb, and I wrapped it in a blanket, and I birthed the ice, and look at the ostrich, and she's pretty dumb, but boy, she can run. God takes delight in all of it. And I'm reminded that in John 3:16, God so loved the world. And I think that this world that God so loves, in which Jesus was born and died and raised, is not one that is ours to destroy. So the way that by coming into this ministry more intentionally was sort of a gradual thing, as maybe it has been for all of you, because it has only been in the last 20 or 30 years that we've really, I think, come to understand what we are doing to this planet and to its air and to its waters. A lot of it has to do with being informed and influenced by other people, just as you are informing and influencing others. But the interesting thing that I have found, and perhaps you have too, is that as I begin to do this work, I gain a deeper appreciation for the interconnectedness and the wonder of this creation in which we live. And as I learn to appreciate and see and stand in awe of it, I become more grounded in my faith and my appreciation for this God so far beyond what I can imagine. Dreamed up a giraffe. I never would have done that. And so it continues to be rather reciprocal. In terms of my experience of putting my faith into action, I'm going to speak very explicitly here because I think that we all are up against some challenges in this area. And one of the biggest challenges that I faced, even in my own congregation initially, but certainly in other places, is that, you're some liberal tree hugger, Birkenstock wearing, tree bark eating fanatic, and that this is, if you really want to choose to do that, well, that's fine, but there are other ways to live, and hoping to get beyond that, to help people understand that we all live on this planet. And we're all connected, and we're going to rise and fall together. And this is not just some optional lifestyle, but it really has to do with our survival. I have a grandson that's now 9.5 weeks old, and I have a great passion now for, I used to care about my kids. Now he's going to be the one that's going to see 2080 or whatever when they're talking about sea level rise and stuff like that. I also think that people have a difficult time understanding this as a justice issue. And it is a huge justice issue. What we do to the bay affects jobs. It affects people's ability to live. What we pump into the air in order to create energy pollutes neighborhoods and disproportionately among poor and people of color. And so getting that message out has been somewhat of a challenge, and I think that it's something we all need to work on and struggle with. And then in terms of best practices, I think you suggested, I would suggest to you, and I don't think I'm telling you anything you don't already know, but this is not a program. It's something that you retrofit into your congregational life to keep a couple of people busy and to implement a couple of visions. This should be about who we are as God's people. And it should be deeply rooted into the life of our congregations in terms of bringing it into the liturgy, including creation in our prayers. Making sure that our practices reflect what we're preaching, not just in our programs, but in the disposables we use and what we put on our lawns and on our gardens, and just bringing some real integrity to this work. And then spread the word. Talk about it. Talk about it in your congregations. You obviously are the green sheep or the green fish or whatever you're calling yourselves, and but make sure that what you're doing is known and understood by everyone in your congregation, so that they can fully embrace it, and then get the word out through Facebook and social media. And I'm all the time sending out press releases. Every now and then they'll pick up on something and look at some press. This church is doing Yes, write letters to the editor, do your advocacy, because it's not about just the Riverwise, the River Stewards program. It's about who we are as we live on this planet that God has given us. Dr. King.
Thank you.
Well, I guess I just jumped right on in here.
Do you want to use the mic?
Really need this? You need it?
Yeah.
Barely hear her.